Harbaugh now heads to the Los Angeles Chargers.
He wins everywhere. He wins, period.
Justin Herbert, he's a crown jewel.
Well, you guys better enjoy this.
Quick snap, Herbert to throw. Has a man, touchdown!
The fans loved it.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin.
Herbert on the move and throws and touchdown.
I was just trying to show off.
We're going to be known as world champions. And we're gonna do it or die trying. Don't let the powder blues fool you.
Who's got it better than that?
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my buddy, Kev Duggan.
What do we do? There is no football on this
There's no
weekend. What do
football.
I do?
Well, we say hey to the other co-host. That's Kyle the Coach Duggan.
Yeah, bye weeks are not my favorite, boys. Coming off a loss into a bye week is not ideal.
That's not the way to do it.
But Kyle, how about them Padres?
Dude. How about them Padres?
All right, we're Charger Podcast. We'll leave it there. But.
We're a Charger podcast. We'll leave it there. But I think that we have some Dodgers shaking in their boots right now.
Yeah.
Shaking.
I like it. It's going to be
Padres.
a good fight.
The dads are coming. Daddy's coming.
The daddy's coming home.
Daddy's coming home to roost. Well, folks, not a ton has happened in this week of bye, but we've still got some things to talk about, and we got a Craig experience lined up for you, so let's waste no time and start at the top. Kev Duggan dropped this tasty little nugget in my lap, and I was like, really? Oh, really, fool? Really? There is a fact here. Rookie wide receivers with a PFF reception grade of 80 plus since 2020. There's 10 names on the list. Great names: Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, Tank Dell, and Rashee Rice.
Wow.
It's a great list. Great company to be a part of. And so far this season, there are two. Utah.
Give me two.
Two names that are on pace to join the list. One of those is Malik Neighbors, understandably so.
Yeah, it was a lot of our fan base talking about taking him in the fifth pick, right?
Yeah, we wanted him.
Talented guy.
Talented guy. The other one, Lad McConkey.
McConkey
is on pace right now to join that list as well. So you know whose name's not on that list?
Who
was the number one wide receiver to go?
Oh, yeah, Marvin. They kind of forget about Marvin
Marv.
Harrison every once in a while, I think.
Forgot about Marv.
Yeah.
But that's some good company to be in. So another reason to be hopeful for this wide receiver core, especially with Ladidi there leading the charge.
Ladidi McConkey.
But Kev's off-season call, Quentin Johnson.
Still doing fine.
It was a very forced call from your boy.
He has more touchdowns. He has the same amount of touchdowns this year as he did all of last year. So we're going to build. We're going to build. That. We're going to grow. This is going to be good.
Yeah. Looking over at Twitter, some tweets that have come out. Chargers practicing during the bye week. Hey, Joe Walt, he's practicing, folks. I think he's got a knee brace, but he's practicing.
God. Thank you, God.
Yes.
Also, just football guy.
Yeah,
bye week.
Football guy.
I got nothing to do, Coach. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Do players really? I don't remember our previous teams, and maybe I'm wrong, but bye weeks were usually like off.
You're gone.
Take a break.
I saw Bud Dupree's like golfing back in Atlanta. Like there are definitely guys that the vets, a lot of the vets were like, sure. Yeah, I need this.
Yeah. Khalil Mack, he's hanging with his fam for sure.
Yeah.
But some other names, Nick Neiman, who started the season on IR, he's been participating. His 21-day activation window is now open. Also, Derwin James was back from suspension.
Hungry dog.
Hungry.
He is hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The week of not eating is going to make him.
Dude,
that's
$700,000
bill.
Dude, I don't think pissing off a guy that's extremely violent by suspending him a game is the play. It doesn't feel like you're going to get better behavior.
Don't do that. He don't like that.
Yeah.
And DJ Chark is still working off to the side, so his window is not yet open. We'll see where he's at when the Chargers are back at practice next week, but he is eligible to return at this point. All names that we want to see coming back. Not practicing, though, Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Rashawn Slater. So hopefully all those guys are just resting.
I haven't heard anything about Rashawn. He's definitely not on the IR, but where is he?
He's not practicing.
He's taking that extra week off because I want them both back for the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely probably a little bit gun shy after the pec injury that he already had. Yeah, I don't think he's like racing to get back out there, but and we need to come to realize we're not going to get injury information. That's not Jim Harbaugh's way.
Yeah.
So if you're holding your breath, like what's going on with Rashawn, you may never know. Don't do that. Exhale. Don't hold your breath. Yeah.
The only thing also that I haven't heard, and maybe you guys have, the pectoral injury. Is it the same pectoral that he injured prior? Don't know. Okay. We don't know. We don't know nothing.
Honestly, I kind of hope it is, and it's not. Now he has 2 messed up pecs.
True. Makes sense. Some other tweets from Mr. Popper. Derwin James said his suspension was very disappointing, in quotes. Asked if he plans to do anything differently with his tackling. James said, just get lower. I'm not going to keep paying $700,000, $800,000. He added.
Yeah,
Derwin James.
You're sorry, knees. Like you're forcing him to go lower.
Yeah, he's going to blow
hips.
out ACLs left and right now. Like,
yeah, it is what it is.
But the problem is,
yeah,
and especially on like a tight end, if Derwin would have gone low, he would have got hurt.
Yeah.
Those are little legs that you're tackling. They're not just going to fly up into the air. You're going to bounce off.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's he going to do?
Damned if you don't. Yeah.
He's when he says lower, he means like 6 inches lower. I just don't want to get caught.
Get low.
Yeah.
Get low. Chargers tweeting out that they had released Tony Jefferson momentarily, but then signed him back to the practice squad. And they also released guard tackle Braden Daniels from the practice squad. So I remember reading that this was like, if you activate somebody from the practice squad so many times, you have to sign them to the 53-man roster.
So they had to cut him so they could bring him back on the practice
We got to cut
squad.
you from the 53-man roster, but then we're going to bring him back to the practice squad. There's so many jumps and hoops that they got to go through. So for those that were worried that like seeing the Chargers cut Tony Jefferson, it's fine. He's back on the practice squad now that Derwin James is ready to come back and start hitting people lower. Daniel Popper also tweeting out Justin Herbert career games with less than 180 passing yards in the entirety of his career from 2020 to 2023, 62 starts. He only had 3 games with less than 180 passing yards. And so far this season, they have all been under 180. So he's already had more games this season than in his entire career of less than 180 yards.
The more I think about this, the more this is the problem, is that we're just not throwing well, and we're not throwing enough. Like we can get the run game going and run the clock off, but we got to get him some more opportunities to do what he does. And it's just this is I saw the stat and I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
It's it's eye catching to know that like the guy who rookie of the year, his first season, I mean, just hucking the ball. And we've seen so many deep balls from this guy and games where he's thrown for over 400 yards. It's just like, yeah, keep it going, baby. We got this. But then you lose Keenan Allen, you lose Mike Williams, and you've got other guys, you've got a lot of rookies, some names that he hasn't worked with before. And it's going to take some time to get that locomotive going. But you would have thought it might have gone a little bit quicker.
I just think, I've thought about it a lot this week. I think the 2 areas that need to get better is our tight ends. Like we have 100%. To be able to throw the ball to the tight end.
Yeah.
Like over the middle of the field to open things up on the edges. And I just think we have to get our tight ends involved. And number 2 is our screen game. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the first screen that we ran all year was that first drive against the Chiefs. Like I don't remember any screen game whatsoever. But like we had a couple really nice screens there on that first drive. And I just think the screen game, especially when people are wanting to hunt down Justin, they know he's hurt. They're going to attack that 5-step drop, sneak in a couple of screens here and there to just slow him down a little bit. It's going to help, especially if you have backup guys in. But I think the tight end game has to get going. Like, I was expecting it to be a really big part of our offense, and it's there, but there's nothing special about it. And I think tight ends getting involved in the passing game and screen games will elevate those numbers quick too.
Yeah. Are you listening, Mr. Roman?
Come on, Greg.
Come on, Greg. We're telling you what to do. One of the things that I think is interesting is like the talk about acquiring other guys, trade proposals. We're seeing Devontae Adams
he's not happy.
He's not long for the Raiders world.
Oh,
we're hearing
Tommy T is not used to this.
Yeah, what? I just got here. It usually takes these guys at least a few years before they realize they don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm hearing a lot of names like Amari Cooper, especially. That guy seems like a prime suspect just because of the low cap hit, but I'm sure we're not the only ones that are interested in him. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the moves that we make during this bye week prior to the trade deadline period, if any of those end up being some top wide receivers. Would you guys be happy or like?
I don't want to do that. I would rather go after interior offensive linemen. Justin needs more time. It doesn't matter who's running those routes right now. He doesn't have enough time to throw the ball with Rashawn and with with Alt out. So for me, like we still haven't seen DJ Chark yet. Like let's let him get out there first, and let's see if we can utilize him before we start, throwing the piggy bank at somebody that is just like a temporary fix.
Sure.
I'm more interested in like the interior offensive line.
Yeah. I think it sounds fun. I think having like a stud number one wide receiver is definitely missing from the Chargers football. Like when you go into a game, it's not like, oh, this guy, we got to shut him down. Like Justin Jefferson's going to go off today. If we don't stop him, we're going to lose. I think as a fan, I want to have that. Like I want that guy.
Yeah.
And I realistically looking to the future, Josh Palmer's on his last year of his deal. Like he's going to be gone. You are going to have to add this offseason something to that room. So if you can make a trade and get a guy that still has another year left on his deal, I wouldn't be like upset. I think it would be fun. I think it would be, I don't know, it's like a little splash, something different for the Charger fan base than what we're used to at trade deadlines.
I mean, it would certainly ignite some excitement with the fan base because I know a lot of the folks, at least that I see on social media, are not necessarily pleased with the performance of the wide receiver. Like we're certainly seeing some like progression, especially from QJ. Like he's night and day compared to last season, but somebody that can, I don't know, like just something different. I mean, sometimes that's all they ever want is just something different, and that's not always what you need.
Let DJ come in. He's sitting there. We just got to get him back on. And Brendan Rice, like I think there's some other guys that can get out there and do some stuff before we need to go start breaking the bank or not even breaking the bank, but bringing in some other veteran presence.
Absolutely. Well, what you won't be breaking the bank on, folks, is our sponsor this week. That's Underdog Fantasy. It's the greatest time of year again. Football is back, and it's here to stay till February. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, where you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. I know we made some picks
for this
Thursday night game.
Kyle, whoa.
We did good, boys. We did good.
How many picks did we make?
We made 3. We did like a 3 different team wager.
And how many did we?
We hit all 3. You have to hit all 3 or you get 0. Yeah. So we hit Kirk Cousins higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Baker Mayfield also higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Let's go.
And Mike Evans higher than 58.5 receiving yards.
62 receiving yards.
Just
62.
Barely by the skin of his teeth made it. Oh,
all of them barely hit. Both quarterbacks had 2 touchdowns. They needed 1.5. And we were 3 yards over our needed receiving yards.
It's just that easy,
good night,
folks. It was a good night for us. It could be a good night for you. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code CCHAT, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code CCHAT to claim your new customer special of a free pick, and your deposit offer must be 18 or over 21 for Massachusetts and Arizona, over 19 for Alabama and New England, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. And after you're done making some stellar picks like we did, folks, you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/ChargerChat. And as usual, we need to shout out names. And I got to start off by saying, I'm so sorry. This one squeaked by me in a way that I've been so good in this one. I feel terrible about this guy. Joaquin J. Guerrero.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome from over a month ago. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. And you can do that too, folks. Patreon.com/ChargerChat. But if you don't want to go over there, it's totally fine. You can head on over to our regular website, ChargerChat.com. Check out all the cool stuff we got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, and stickers. You can chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers in the members section and ask questions and ask Bolt fam. So go check out chargerchat.com. All right, folks, time to go into the next segment. You know him, you love him. It is the Craig Experience.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Come on in, man. Kick your feet up.
Oh.
Craig Experience.
Hello there.
Make yourself at home. Got some stuff to talk about, right? Moving on.
Heck of a time for a bye week. I'm not complaining. I know most of you aren't. And though we won't have Chargers football this weekend, we can just kind of sit back and watch other teams bludgeon each other while our boys kind of lick their wounds and recover. But as fans, we probably needed a little bit of a break because there's a lot going on. And some people are already jumping ship, which is kind of weird. At 2-2, it's a questionable thing to do, but I'm not going to sit here and judge. I think I can understand some of the frustrations, and my hope is that we can talk through a few of them, maybe provide some suggestions, maybe break down a little bit about what's going on, and hopefully find some resolution, at least amongst ourselves. We'll see what the team does coming out of this break, but let's get into it. CC gang, the biggest of salutes to the rest of the Boat fam. What's going on? She got Craig in Texas, and welcome to this newest edition of the TCE. Let's do it. Hey, 2-2, not the end of the world, but does kind of feel a little bit like we're in bizarro world because this iteration of the Chargers through 4 weeks is being carried by its defense. And we for years have been saying that if you just gave Justin Herbert an average defense, then he would be able to really show out and these wins would start piling up. Well, unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out the way we anticipated. And this is why you have to be careful for what you ask for, because you might get it just not the way you intended. It's one of those really weird and twisted scenarios, but let's be honest about it. This matchup against the Chiefs last week, I don't know how competitive a lot of us expected the Chargers to be, but we're talking about a team that had the opportunity to win that game. And to be honest, they could very well be 4-0 if things broke a couple ways, if there weren't a few injuries here and there, and not just any injuries. It's always the injuries to the most important players. I can argue that if both tackles were healthy, the Chargers probably would be 4-0. Doesn't mean that every decision that was made would have still been made the same way, or should I say differently, if they were available. But I think it does lean into a bit of why certain calls were made in certain scenarios and situations. But let's just break this down by each phase of the game. Offensively, a lot of fans want Greg Roman's head at this point. But again, be honest with yourselves. When this announcement was made that he would be the offensive coordinator, it wasn't to a lot of fanfare. If you're familiar with Greg Roman, you know that he's a run-first guy, and he's going to run the ball without fail, nonstop, until you force him out of it. Last week, that didn't necessarily happen in probably the situation that it should have, with the Chargers inside of the Chiefs' 5-yard line, and they chose to line up in shotgun with a hampered Justin Herbert. And you know the rest of the story. We don't have to revisit that fully. But overall, through the first couple of games, people seemed quite satisfied. The Chargers won. The running game was really rolling. And you could see the passing game still needed work. But I guess maybe when you win, it masks a few things. But the people who really watched the game overall and cared saw that there was definitely some development needed in that phase. But currently where the team stands, they're 11th in rushing and 31st in passing yardage. Saying that about a team led by Justin Herbert is really wild to me, but here we are. And outside of Greg Roman, I really felt like, and as the season goes on, I think still will, Marcus Brady and Mark Trestman are going to have a little bit more of an imprint on that offense. And I think some of what their job is to help Greg Roman get out of his own way when it comes to the passing game, because both are experienced play callers and very adept at creating offensive schemes. So moving forward, there's opportunity for it to improve. But right now, they're a little stuck in the mud, and I can understand. And again, you should too. You're talking about a team that's really suffering because of its interior offensive line play, which has not been very good at all. Zion, kind of still trying to get some consistency with him. His game has been off and on for certain, and it's kind of been dependent upon the opposition. And you don't want players that play up to a certain level based on who they play against. You want them to be consistent competitors week in and week out. Bradley Bozeman, also not great. And Trey Pipkins has been pretty decent at guard. I want to give him credit for that. But the interior of the offensive line has definitely been the weakness. And then you lose your best offensive lineman, your 2 tackles, and Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. And what are you supposed to do with that? So I want to try to give Roman a little bit of a pass. I mean, you saw that drive that they had to open up the game against the Chiefs. It was magnificent. It was over 70 yards. What was it, like 13 or 15 plays, something like that? So like the opening game script, fantastic. Things changed a bit. Well, a whole lot, not really a bit throughout the game. A lot of that had to do with the penalties, and you find yourself behind the sticks, behind the chains and down in distance, and some of the stuff you had planned has to kind of go out of the window. So it was really disappointing to see from a discipline standpoint, just as many penalties as there were. I think there were 9 total, 7 went to the offense. Multiple penalties by offensive linemen, the majority of them, in fact. But the offense will have an opportunity to improve with guys coming back into the fold. You got DJ Chark hopefully back after this week, so that's more of a vertical threat. Ladd McConkey definitely stepping up. QJ, again, being as consistent as QJ can be. Wasn't a huge factor just this past week, but you can see Ladd McConkey really kind of sort of stepping up into that role of being Justin Herbert's favorite target. So hopefully with DJ Chark, you have a guy that can come in, threaten again the field vertically, and open things up for your guys to work underneath and make life a little bit easier for Justin Herbert and the wide receivers. But they definitely have to work on the spacing too. It's not been great. Now moving over to the phase of the game that has been a godsend, and thank you, Jesse Mentor. The Chargers are currently 5th against the run, 13th against the pass, but here's the key number. They are number 1 in points per game average with 12.5 per contest. They're holding teams out of the end zone, and that's what matters. I'm not even going to call what they're doing bend don't break, because being top 5 against the run is huge. It's always been an issue for the Chargers, at least for the greater part of the last decade. And then they've always given up really explosive plays in the passing game because of their lack of ability to stop the run, really everything. And that one big play they gave up to Xavier Worthy last week, it looks like Alohi Gilman kind of got fooled by one of the routes underneath and didn't cover over the top, because I don't want to put that on Christian Fulton. I think it was just a misplay by Gilman, and Fulton overall has been tremendous. I mean, as far as standouts go in the secondary, he's been the number 1 corner, and it's almost no denying it. So bravo to him. But Jesse Mentor, please keep this man around. Pay him whatever you want. Give him, like, I don't know, let him buy into the organization. Just do something. I want him around as long as humanly possible. And I think as the season goes on, the offense will start to creep back up to where it should be. And the defense won't be leaned upon as heavily to basically keep the team into games and give the offense an opportunity to win. They may be able to balance each other out where the defense just doesn't have to save the day each and every week. And the offense can put up significant points, maybe play with the lead, and the defense just holds it down. Then we're moving over to special teams. And at this point, Ryan Ficken's probably pulling his hair out because of one player, Darius Davis, my man. After, what was he? Was he second team All-Pro returner in his rookie campaign? Following that up with a not great one. Right now, the Chargers are bottom 5 in punt return yardage and bottom 10 in kickoff return yardage. And the latter doesn't bother me as much. With the new dynamic kickoff return rules, it's taken some adjusting here and there. You've seen some really weird penalties. And honestly, teams don't seem to be being super creative with the way they're handling the return game. So that one's not the pressing one to me. The punt return is a problem. Darius Davis has put the Chargers in some really poor field position. And for a team that prides itself and wants to be the bully on the block, that means you're going to, if number one, you're going to lean on the run first and foremost, you're going to absolutely have to do your best to stay in ideal field position. It's not always going to be perfect, but, you know, in scenarios like where the Chargers find themselves here in the last couple of weeks, when you got an injured quarterback and some down offensive linemen, you can't afford to be starting deep in your own territory and having to dig out these long, arduous drives, man. Nah, you're going to need some explosive returns to set yourself up. I mean, not always in plus territory, you know, get some starts around the 40-yard line. You just don't want to be starting inside your own 10. You don't want to let the ball bounce and let teams down it inside your 5 consistently over and over again. You don't want to field punts and call fair catches inside of the 10-yard line. I mean, it's just simple things. And when you have an opportunity to make plays, you proved yourself last year to be a difference maker in that regard. And this season, it almost seems like he's squeamish about returning punts. So we really need him to get it together, because overall, again, this team can be very good in each phase of the game. But for the time being, until they, A, get some guys back, and B, figure out the passing game, special teams are going to have to really come to play each and every week. And Darius Davis is a much bigger factor than maybe what he anticipated having to be, but it is what it is. Now, when we're talking about things like player acquisitions, trades, there's a lot of stuff going around. Not a names floating around here, and maybe some players to keep an eye on. And I just want to throw out a few. I mean, when we talked about like the interior offensive line being a weakness, there isn't a whole lot you can do there with regard to trades, because teams don't tend to trade really good offensive linemen. I mean, they're really hard to come by, unless you're talking about teams that have like a younger player waiting in the wings, ready to roll, and an older one maybe towards the end of a contract they're looking to get off of. So it could happen, but I don't necessarily think that it will. You've got Jordan McFadden, who can't seem to find the field for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I think he's an option. Maybe work him in. You're not going to move Pipkins because he's been the most solid of the 3 on the interior, but they were talking about McFadden potentially playing center. He's athletic enough to do it. See him taking Zion's spot? Well, if he practices and performs better than Zion, I don't think Jim cares that Zion's a first-round draft pick. But something's probably going to have to get shaken up there on the interior. I'm really also looking at the receiving threats, and that includes tight ends, because the Chargers tight end group has not been impressive at all, at least in the passing game. I don't know, man. Hayden Hurst just seems to have been unable to get things rolling. Will Dissly's been really, really solid as a blocker. He's made a couple plays in the passing game, but you don't want Will Dissly to be your leading receiver as a tight end. It's not really what he's built for. So let's throw some names out there. You got Amari Cooper with the Browns. Browns are kind of in a bad way, and Amari's 29, 30 years old, probably looking for a change of scenery. I'm not sure where he is in his deal. I haven't looked that up yet, but he's probably an option. You got Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins over there in Tennessee with Mayo Man, unable to throw him the ball, or anyone the ball for that matter. Yikes. He probably would want out, and Nuke's still a number 1 receiver. He's not the most explosive, but he's very dependable, super physical, can win at the catch point, someone who's going to be able to move the chains for you and open some things up again for some other receivers around him. I know you people are talking T. Higgins. The Chargers have the money to pay him down the line, but is T. Higgins a number 1 wide receiver? And the question I'm asking about that is that you could maybe wonder whether number 1 wide receiver is necessary. Teams can key in on those guys and they can take them out of games. And then if you don't have any other options to pass the ball to, you might be in trouble. But that's not the Chargers' issue. They have a bunch of number 2 and 3 guys. They don't have a true number 1. The flip side to that is if you have a number 1 guy, he's probably still going to be able to beat some of those like double teams. Also, if you want to shade coverage over to his side, he can still win in those scenarios. But the Chargers have guys that could take advantage, like a Ladd McConkey, like a QJ on the backside of those things. So you make them better. You give them more opportunities. So the attention a number 1 could create for himself would also allow the others to flourish, I believe. So definitely an option there. But T. Higgins, I wouldn't hate it, but is it realistic? I wouldn't knock it. If the Chargers were able to pull that off, I'd be happy about it. There's, as far as receivers go, Darius Slayton, who's also a vertical threat for the Giants. Even, again, like I mentioned before, DJ Chark coming back, you can still never have enough speed. And Darius Slayton is a guy that can work the deep portions of the field, and teams are going to have to respect that. You might have to put a safety over the top of that. And again, same thing that I mentioned before, it'll allow your other receivers to work the short and intermediate portions of the field when you have someone that defenses have to fear week in and week out to take the top off. And when we're talking tight ends, Dawson Knox from the Bills. Right now, he doesn't seem to be getting the same type of attention that, forgetting the number one tight end dude from Utah's name is, that is currently their number one, really the focal point of their passing game, or has been the last couple weeks. But Dawson Knox kind of become a forgotten man. And Dawson can be a vertical seam stretcher and also pretty decent run blocker. So to me, I feel like ideally in this offense, the team needs a premier tight end. How they get it, who knows? I think it'll probably end up coming via the draft. But either way, they need someone who can be a primary threat in the passing game to kind of give Herbert a bit of a break. And also the other complementary receivers, give them opportunities to make plays too. So, you know, again, like I mentioned before, there's opportunities for things to improve. And I think the team will. Not mad about a 2-2 start. Don't love the way we got here, but there's a whole season left ahead of us, guys. So chill out. We'll be okay. I have faith, and you should too. So that'll be it for me. I appreciate you. You know what it is. You know who I be, Mr. TOP_FLYT3 over on Twitter. Also, Mr. Bowl Gang or Do Not Bang. That's me. And you can check me out on the Lightning Round podcast as a co-host over there as well. So again, fellas, hope you guys are enjoying the bye week. Don't do anything too crazy. Take some time. Enjoy it with the fam, being that you don't have to be plopped down in front of a TV watching Chargers football. And until the next time, catch y'all later. Okay? Love you. Bye.
Well, there you go, folks. Another awesome Craig experience. Some other names out there that I hadn't necessarily considered. I heard about Amari Cooper, and I mean, people have been talking about Devontae Adams. Thank God, like they've been kind of squashing the idea of Devontae going to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I would hate that. And I'm sure the Raiders would too. I can't imagine there's a lot of like.
I don't think they're going to be sending. I don't think he's going to the AFC West. If they trade him, he's going somewhere else.
Yeah. But I mean, some of those other names like Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, even Darius Slayton, I'd be like,
I know what he was saying about the interior offensive lineman. I don't think we're just going to get one that's good. We'd have to trade for one. I think it's a trade situation.
It's certainly a trade, but it's like if another team's got a good interior offensive lineman, they're not going to want to give him up. They don't want to hold on to that guy. So
I think we need a center.
I know.
I think we need a better center.
I'm with you. And it very well could be the case. We'll see what Chef Ortiz cooks up for us, if anything, between now and the next game. But Craig, thank you, my man, for another awesome Craig experience. Craig. Always love hearing from you. And I think that's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. No bold predictions to make this. I mean, do we want to make like random bold predictions? Like,
yeah, Padres 2-0 after the weekend.
Let's go.
That's a real big bold prediction.
Yeah, bold prediction.
Yeah,
not that bold.
No, I like it. I'm in. I'm excited.
Kevin is always so scared to piss off the Dodger fans that listen to the show.
I know they're here for Chargers.
I know, and we are
fans,
too. Yes, we're allowed to be.
But I'm not
also
talking crap to Dodger fans. I won't do it.
Not gonna bet.
They'll talk crap to you. Just buckle up.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. How are you? All right. That's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat, folks. Don't forget to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Yay, love you. Bye.